Space is often sold as the ultimate frontier of discovery, but in the realm of independent cinema, it's usually just a cold, metallic cage. The hybrid zone, where science fiction meets visceral horror, thrives on absolute isolation, turning advanced technology into a liability and empty cosmic voids into a canvas for our deepest evolutionary fears. It is an area of filmmaking where the clean lines of corporate spaceships are quickly ruined by slime, biochemical mutations, and things hiding in the dark quarters just outside the camera's view. Tonight, we're leaving orbit to uncover 10 deep-cut sci-fi horror movies. These are the titles that bypass the mainstream radar, trading massive studio budgets for raw practical effects, heavy electronic scores, and a wonderfully gritty industrial visual texture. From abandoned lunar outposts harboring ancient mechanical secrets to deep space salvage operations that accidentally retrieve a living nightmare. These films capture a genre at its most imaginative and dangerous. Prepare for decompression as we venture into 10 deep cuts from sci-fi horror.
The Borrower, 1991, John McNaughton followed up Portrait of a Serial Killer with something completely different, a sci-fi horror comedy about an alien criminal whose punishment involves being transformed into human form and exiled to Earth. Problem is, the transformation is unstable. His head keeps exploding, forcing him to steal replacement heads from victims to survive. A detective investigates the bizarre string of headless bodies, while the alien borrower stumbles through human society, accumulating heads like outfits. The premise is gloriously absurd, and McNaughton plays it with deadpan seriousness that makes the dark comedy land. Ray Don Chong stars as the detective trying to make sense of forensic evidence that defies logic, while the alien, played by various actors as he switches heads, lurches through encounters that highlight the absurdity of human behavior through extraterrestrial eyes. The practical head explosion effects are spectacularly messy, each transformation delivering splatter-heavy gore that's both shocking and darkly funny. The film's tone walks a tightrope between genuine horror and satirical comedy, using the body-swapping premise to comment on identity, criminality, and social dysfunction. The borrower's attempts to blend into society while literally falling apart create scenarios that are simultaneously disturbing and hilarious. Shot with more style and craft than typical early 90s creature features, The Borrower benefits from McNaughton's directorial skill and willingness to embrace the premise's inherent weirdness. It's the kind of high-concept B-movie that could only exist in the early 90s direct-to-video market. Too strange for mainstream audiences, but perfect for genre fans seeking something genuinely odd. The Dark Side of the Moon, 1990. Director D.J. Webster orchestrates a highly atmospheric, deliciously bleak exercise in deep space paranoiac horror that brilliantly blends the claustrophobic dread of a submarine thriller with demonic supernatural lore. Dropping right at the turn of the decade, the film discards the campy brightness of 80s B-movies in favor of a cold, metallic aesthetic that bathes every single frame in deep shadows and sickly emergency lighting. The camera work is exceptionally deliberate, utilizing tight framing and slow sweeping pans down narrow corridors to build an overwhelming sense of isolation. The narrative unfolds in the then future of 2022, following the blue-collar crew of an orbital maintenance ship tasked with repairing deactivated nuclear satellites. The routine operation goes completely off the rails when the ship suffers a catastrophic power failure that leaves them drifting helplessly into the dark shadow of the moon. As their life support systems rapidly dwindle, the crew encounters a seemingly abandoned NASA space shuttle floating in the void, a vehicle that historically vanished decades prior. Upon boarding the ghost ship, they inadvertently invite an ancient, shape-shifting malevolence onto their own vessel, realizing too late that the Bermuda Triangle has a terrifying cosmic counterpart. An exceptional ensemble cast delivers raw, sweat-soaked performances that perfectly capture the slow deterioration of sanity under extreme psychological duress. The movie has earned an enduring cult reputation for its fascinating genre-bending premise, utilizing impressive miniature visual effects and an incredibly unsettling, low-frequency synth soundtrack to sustain tension. It remains a brilliantly sinister, hidden gem of direct-to-video cinema, delivering an uncompromisingly grim atmosphere that lingers long after the credits fade. Contamination, 1980. When a mysterious shipment of coffee beans arrives in New York, authorities discover the cargo holds a deadly secret: pulsating green eggs that explode with lethal force. Anyone splattered by their contents dies in gruesome fashion, and the investigation leads to a conspiracy stretching from South America to NASA itself. At the center of it all is an alien creature pulling the strings, its influence infecting the human race, one victim at a time. Directed by Italian filmmaker Luigi Cozzi, working here under the name Louis Coates, Contamination is a bold attempt to ride the wave of Ridley Scott's Alien, while creating something entirely its own. Ian McCulloch, fresh from Lucio Fulci's Zombie, stars as Colonel Holmes alongside Louise Marlowe and Marino Massey, who lend credibility to the pulpy chaos. The film's set pieces are unforgettable. Dimly lit warehouses stacked with glowing eggs, hazmat-suited investigators facing splattering doom, and the climactic reveal of a massive alien overlord. The practical effects, though rough around the edges, create a sense of grotesque spectacle that fans of Italian exploitation cinema treasure. What makes Contamination memorable is its blend of science fiction paranoia and graphic horror. It captures the anything-goes energy of Italian genre cinema, delivering wild ideas, over-the-top violence, and a pounding score by Goblin that elevates every scene. Dismissed by critics as a cheap knockoff, it instead earned cult status for its audacity and sheer entertainment value. Contamination may have borrowed inspiration, but it turned those ideas into something stranger, gorier, and impossible to forget. Forbidden World, 1982. Roger Corman's New World Pictures, operating at peak efficiency, recycling sets and footage from Battle Beyond the Stars, while delivering fresh creature effects and escalating body horror. Alan Holtzman's Forbidden World wastes no time. A troubleshooter gets dispatched to a remote research facility where genetic experiments have produced something that's evolving faster than anyone anticipated. The metamorphic organism designed to solve food scarcity has become a rapidly mutating predator that's learning, adapting, and consuming everything in its path. Jesse Vint plays the space troubleshooter with appropriate worn-down charisma, a man who's seen enough corporate disasters to know exactly how bad things will get. John Buechler's creature effects are the standout, a constantly morphing monstrosity that changes appearance and abilities as it consumes genetic material. The transformation sequences showcase practical effects work that punches well above the modest budget, genuinely disturbing in their organic fluidity. Corman's influence is evident in every frame. Maximum exploitation value extracted from minimal resources, with gratuitous elements inserted to guarantee rental appeal. The film moves at a relentless pace through grimy industrial corridors, delivering exactly what its title promises: a nasty, efficient creature feature that knows its audience and serves them well. Inseminoid, 1981. Chislehurst Caves in Kent, England, transformed into an alien planet for Norman J. Warren's brutal sci-fi horror film. The limestone tunnels provide genuinely claustrophobic locations as an archaeological expedition uncovers ancient technology and something still alive. When a team member is attacked and impregnated by an extraterrestrial presence, she becomes a violent threat to the rest of the crew. Judy Geeson delivers a committed performance, transitioning from victim to predator, driven by alien instincts to protect her rapidly gestating offspring. Stephanie Beacham and Victoria Tennant navigate increasingly dire circumstances as the small crew dynamic collapses. Survival depends on trust, and that evaporates once the attacks begin. Warren's approach to the premise is unflinching, treating the forced impregnation and its aftermath with exploitation directness. The practical effects for the alien sequences and birth scene are crude, but effective, emphasizing visceral horror. Creative lighting and minimal set dressing transform the underground caves into convincingly alien environments on a fraction of Alien's budget. This is pure survival horror, stripped of cosmic mystery or deeper meaning, focusing entirely on immediate physical threat. Inseminoid operates as grim, cheap British exploitation that delivers exactly what its provocative title promises without pretense. Moontrap, 1989. Director Robert Dyke delivers a highly entertaining, imaginative slice of late 1980s sci-fi that beautifully bridges the gap between space exploration aesthetics and high-concept tech horror. The film stands out by avoiding the hyper-polished sleekness of big-budget studio features, opting instead for a gritty, weathered visual palette that captures the blue-collar exhaustion of its protagonist pilots. The cinematography leans heavily into the shadow-drenched blacks of outer space and harsh interior lighting that highlights the tactile textures of the set design, making the lunar surface feel vast, cold, and unforgiving. The story takes off when a couple of seasoned space shuttle astronauts on a routine mission stumble across a derelict alien vessel drifting silently in Earth's orbit. Inside the dead ship, they discover a preserved human corpse, along with a mysterious metallic egg that they bring back to Houston for evaluation. The narrative shifts into overdrive when the artifact suddenly reanimates, self-assembling a deadly robotic body out of nearby laboratory equipment. This terrifying event forces the pilots onto a desperate mission to the moon, where they unearth a massive underground bunker housing an ancient genocidal cybernetic army waiting to harvest human organic tissue to build their bodies. The legendary Walter Koenig anchors the film with a fiercely charismatic performance as the cynical veteran pilot Jason Grant, matched perfectly by the incomparable Bruce Campbell, who brings his trademark deadpan wit and high-energy screen presence to the role of co-pilot Ray Tanner. The film is celebrated for its incredible hands-on practical special effects work, featuring spectacular stop-motion animation, highly creative miniature model photography, and genuinely grotesque biomechanical creature suits. It stands as a proud, delightfully ambitious monument to the tail end of the independent sci-fi boom. Creature, 1985. Klaus Kinski fighting a biomechanical alien on one of Saturn's moons. That's essentially the pitch for William Malone's Shameless Alien Imitator. A salvage crew responds to a distress signal from a research station on Titan and finds an ancient life form that's been dormant for millennia and very hungry after its long sleep. Yes, it borrows the derelict ship setup, corporate betrayal subplot, and even the chest-bursting reveal. But Malone brings enough practical effects craftsmanship to make it more than a simple cash grab. The creature designed by Robert and Dennis Skotak is genuinely impressive. A biomechanical horror that moves with unsettling fluidity through surprisingly effective industrial corridors. Kinski's presence elevates everything considerably, bringing his signature intensity even in limited screen time. The rest of the cast, Stan Ivar, Wendy Shaw, Lyman Ward, and Diane Salinger, play it straight, treating the B-movie premise with appropriate gravity. Malone shoots the Titan research station with real visual flair, understanding that atmosphere can compensate for limited resources. When the violence arrives, it's practical and brutal, with solid gore effects that satisfy. Creature knows exactly what it is and executes with enough skill to stand as entertaining space horror in its own right. Xtro, 1982. British horror sci-fi Xtro is deeply, profoundly weird. A film that starts with alien abduction and ends in places most creature features wouldn't dare approach. A man returns 3 years after being taken by extraterrestrials, but he's not quite human anymore. His reunion with his family quickly turns nightmarish as his alien nature manifests in increasingly disturbing ways, including impregnating a woman who births him as a full-grown adult, covered in afterbirth. Director Harry Bromley Davenport creates something that defies easy categorization. The film blends alien invasion, body horror, domestic drama, and hallucinogenic imagery into a narrative that feels like it's constantly mutating. The practical effects are memorably grotesque. The rebirth sequence remains one of the most unsettling in 80s horror, while other transformations involve toys coming to life, a woman turning into an egg-laying creature, and a child developing telekinetic powers. Philip Sayre plays the returned father with appropriate detachment, suggesting something wearing human skin rather than actual humanity. Bernice Stigers portrays his wife caught between relief at his return and growing horror at what he's become. The film treats family dynamics with unexpected seriousness, even as alien horror invades domestic spaces, making the violation feel more personal and disturbing. Xtro doesn't explain itself or provide easy answers. Characters make bizarre decisions, events unfold with nightmare logic, and the climax offers no conventional resolution. It's the kind of aggressively strange film that can only come from low-budget horror unencumbered by studio notes or conventional wisdom. Xtro remains deeply divisive. Some find it brilliant, others incomprehensible, but no one forgets it. Galaxy of Terror, 1981. Before James Cameron directed Aliens, he worked as second unit director and production designer on Bruce D. Clark's Galaxy of Terror, helping construct the elaborate pyramid sets that give this Roger Corman production surprising visual scope. The premise, a rescue mission to a remote planet, becomes a nightmare when the crew discovers a mysterious structure that feeds on fear, manifesting each person's deepest terrors as physical threats. The ensemble cast reads like a who's who of character actors: Ray Walston, Aaron Moran, Robert Englund before Freddy Krueger, Sid Haig delivering menacing presence, Edward Albert as the reluctant hero, and Grace Zabriskie as the ship's commander. Each actor gets their moment of terror, facing fears that range from worms to cosmic insignificance. The individual death sequences are inventively disturbing, with practical effects that still provoke reactions. The film's most notorious scene, involving a giant maggot-like creature, remains one of exploitation cinema's most extreme moments, pushing boundaries that most productions wouldn't approach. Despite obvious budget limitations, the pyramid interiors create genuine alien atmosphere through creative lighting and set design. Galaxy of Terror operates as pure pulp sci-fi horror, unconcerned with logic or restraint. Corman exploitation that aims for the gut rather than the brain. Shadowzone, 1990. J.S. Cardone's directorial debut turns the underground lab thriller into something genuinely unnerving. It's not gore or jump scares that unsettle, but the slow-building dread that something fundamentally wrong has been invited into our world. Imagine the thing filtered through sleep-study paranoia. Flickering fluorescence, echoing concrete, claustrophobia at every corner. A NASA-funded team is conducting dream research in a decommissioned missile silo when their experiments tear a hole into another dimension. What comes through isn't just hostile. It's adaptive, learning, and wearing bodies as if trying on clothes. Investigators arrive to find one scientist dead, the rest traumatized, and the entity still loose in the labyrinthine corridors beneath the Earth. Cardone, who would later write The Forsaken and episodes of The Outer Limits, already demonstrates a knack for atmosphere on a shoestring budget. Creature effects are practical and suggestive, keeping horror at the edges of perception. The cast, led by Louise Fletcher with her Ice Queen intensity, plays it straight enough to make the increasingly bizarre science feel credible. Shadowzone vanished almost immediately into the video store ecosystem, eclipsed by bigger-budget body horror. Yet it possesses that early 90s alchemy, inventive ideas, competent craft, and a willingness to get truly strange when the story demands it.
That's it for tonight's episode. If you want to help us keep the archive alive and growing, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. And remember, always be kind and rewind, because every movie is somebody's favorite.